Welcome everyone, Adam the Woo here, back at the Monroeville Mall in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And you'll notice daylight is starting to end. The sun is going down. Nightfall is happening. And I have been invited to a special after-hours mall closing filming location tour with a group of other people and a guide that I will be tagging along. I will be a fly on the wall. This is a historic occasion. I have never been in the Dawn of the Dead Mall after close, all alone. Well, with the tour group. I'm inviting you to join me. Shall you? He's reenacting the scene. He's much smaller and tinier than the guy I'm used to from the movie that smashed his belly up against that exact window. There is quite a congregation of people. All the shoppers have left and we're about ready to go inside.
This is the beginning, and I'll give you a little intro. My name is Lawrence DeVincetz. Call me Larry, please. I'm sure you've seen many of my posts on Facebook. I post all the time, ad nauseum. Anyway, that's enough about me. But this here is Kevin Christ. He is the owner, curator of the Living Dead Museum. He put together this entire event. In particular, during the biker raid, you see one zombie get shot. And he sort of falls back against the wall, and you see it's like a couple of these here, and you can match them to what you see on screen. So he sort of gets shot by a biker, and he falls back like this. I do a lot of recreations as we go along and try to do some of the dialogue to make it fun and not just informative, and it is very informative too. The first set of trucks is parked at the very old front of the mall where the district is, and the second set of trucks that they park them right here. They parked one truck right here alongside the glass doors, and they park one truck along that one. When the head biker leaves the mall, he's in the sidecar, and the one guy's driving him on the motorcycle. They come out the doorway here, and he gets shot by Peter up in the ceiling, and he falls right over here in the parking lot. He was bit probably right about here in between the trucks. I forgot my bag, you know, and he gets bit, you know, he screws up. These are the first set of doors that they unlock. They drive the car down this hallway.
We're getting locked in.
Park here, and they lock off the doors. Later on they go to another hallway, which we'll get to, and they lock those doors. This area behind me, which is now the Mr. Rogers playground, at the time of filming, it was where the fountain was. It's the fountain that you see the bikers stream in through the mall. They started riding all around the fountain. It was directly behind us. They have a group photo of all the cast and crew, and they're wearing Dawn of the Dead shirts. They were actually on the other side of the fountain in front of that pillar. So that group shot that you see at some of the people's tables, that was taken, probably the camera was on one side of the fountain, and shot them standing all right there. Before Tom Savini goes after Peter, it's because Peter shoots, and he shoots a bottle that he's holding, one of the seltzer water bottles that he sprayed at the zombies. Tom was standing right here. And you can see this column in the shot. I'm not sure if it's still the same marble that you see in the shot, but next to it is the stairs, and he runs around the stairs after it gets shot out of his head, and he goes after Peter upstairs. The four heroes, and they're posed with their guns ready. They are actually probably pretty much about here. You can see the marble column behind them and match the pattern in it on the top. At one point, after the bikers come in, Steven is on the walkie-talkie, and this is the exact same model they used in the movie. It's not in the program, right? That's one that I added recently. But if you get that shot, you can see the marble matches. And he's on his walkie, and there's a sort of red store behind him, which was Ormond. And he swings off the balcony up here on a rope with flags on it, and he actually lands right under here, and this is where he starts fighting with the zombies. Peter grabs the big for a loaf of rye bread or something, and he says, "Manga!" And they're standing right in the doorway of Cheeseboard here. You can also, again, match the marble pattern up here on this column, in the background behind Stephen. Next to Cheeseboard was the maternity store, right here. And there was a bench in front of it, and that's where Fran's pregnant, smoking. He was on the mattresses against that column, had the camera and filmed him as he jumped over the balcony. They all come up to this balcony in front of Foxmoor, and they look down at all the mess, and you see the views of the zombies strewn about, all shot and dead. They were standing right there. All are welcome. All are welcome. Wrong movie, sorry. If you remember, you'll see a scene where there's a view from the camera point of an arm shooting up top. That was actually, if you see a lot of the behind-the-scenes photos, it's George Romero's arm in the shot, and he's shooting up there, and you see the store merry-go-round in view, and it was right there where Seasons is, right at the end of it. The scene where Sledge falls off the back of the motorcycle, because he gets shot in the back by Peter as he's up in the ceiling somewhere. Come in, somebody rip me apart, you guys.
Got it.
You just ripped apart. And you can match the little sort of, patterns of the rocks or whatever that might be. Ever so delicate. And you see the one stronger, thicker metal line here and the thinner one right there?
Yeah.
Tom Savini as Blades gets knocked off the motorcycle by Lenny Lee's the machete zombie. That happens right here. Tom gets knocked off the motorcycle and falls down, and when he gets up and turns around to go after the machete zombie, as he's known, you can see the doorway behind him in the shot. He walks up, puts his leg on him, pulls out his machete, and he says, "Say goodbye, creep." Right over here.
Looks like this.
Coming through.
Because the control room is small, and I want you all to hear everything that's going on, I'm working everybody through in groups of about 20. Have a fun round. Alright, as you can see, this is the control room. How about a little music? Might cover the noise we make. Oh my God, look at this, what I found over here. What do you know? Keys to the kingdom. Keys to the kingdom. Yep. 15 upper, 15 lower. As the zombie was chasing Stephen through the room, at one point they come sort of together, across each other, across the room. I am where the zombie would have been, and you would see these square machines behind him in the shop. Stephen is over there. The zombie comes around. Stephen comes around to meet him. I'll be Stephen. The zombie comes around, pulls out his gun, click, 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 got bullets. All of a sudden, the zombie grabs him from behind, and he awkwardly spins around and falls. Right over here, the zombie's coming toward him. He's got his gun out, fires, he's trying to get to the chamber, boom, boom, click, boom. Zombie's dead.
15 upper lower. There you go. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll take one.
Of course. Come on.
You're handing a lot of them out.
There we go.
All right, thank you.
Fingers are dry.
Our hero, Roger, falls victim to a zombie bite and he passes away. He was buried right about here. How do I know? At the time of filming, behind Peter, as he's there pouring out a little liquor for his homie, you see behind him the slack shack. At the time of filming, that was right here, which are his kids is. You remember the blood pressure machine, right? Yeah. Okay, Tony Buba, who is here this weekend, he calls himself Sombrero Man, or Sombrero, a biker, or whatever. He sits in it.
Got in my way of a shot talking about the Sombrero Man.
We are now standing in what was the Ice Palace of the Monroeville Mall. It was their ice skating rink. They also filmed the movie Flashdance here at the mall and on the ice skating rink. Also in later years, they filmed the Kevin Smith movie Zack and Miri in the mall. Rides a motorcycle on the sidecar, and he swings his machete and chops off a zombie's head. He would have been riding directly down this way in front of the Ice Palace, which was here, and the zombie that got his head chopped off would have been somewhere around here. He rides down. Woo!
How's that go again?
No.
Could you do that again for us?
No. Also, I'm sure you all remember the escalator zombie played by the late Clayton Hill. I'm going to reenact him on the escalator for you. Just walking around like nonchalant. Like. And they demolished the building. Otherwise, if you came here before October 2012, you could have gotten to that JCPenney's and seen the escalator that's in the movie that Roger slides down. It was there all these years. Unfortunately for progress, again, they removed the building and they built the new Cinemark Theater. Sucks. I got in and I slid down that thing like 7 times one day. I had to. I went full. And Nancy did it too. She was the last person to slide down. Hey, Peter! Woo! I did it. I had to do it. And I'm not great with dialogue, so I had to write it down. He's like, "They're in, Flyboy. They open the loading docks. Listen, with those bay doors open, there's going to be 1,000 zombies in here. That'll take the heat off us." He's like, "These guys are going to have their hands full." And you can match this pattern in the marble columns. The restaurant where Stephen proposes to Fran and she rejects him. That would have been at the Pomodoro, and that would have been right here where Leggings was. And then you might think this is all a little, sometimes esoteric, like maybe you have to imagine where these things were. But the way I know that they were really there is that I found a brochure from the mall at the time it was filming. And it had, the directory of all the stores. So then what I do is look at the current directory and match what was there now, what is here now. The car was beside the bridge. They had the pie fight on the bridge and this entire area. All the scenes pretty much of the pie fight happened right here. And as the bikers all entered the mall and Flyboy's running around trying to close the gates, he runs around behind that rock wall. He comes around and he's looking and he comes to a bench. And he's like, "We took it, it's ours." And he starts firing at them. He comes around the bench, comes to a wall, and he's looking, he's got his gun. It's right here, and you can match the marble patterns in the wall here. He's holding it and he's looking. No malls now are allowed to have ponds like that because they had a pond with actual koi fish in it. They are not allowed to have that anymore because of the fear of people falling in and possibly hurting themselves or dying. Otherwise, if you have something like that, they say you have to build huge glass walls around them, and that just destroys the whole look of it. It's just stupid. So they opt to go the easy route and pretty much just remove it. So what happened was, as a result of the fans getting together and signing that petition, and how much news it made, them removing the bridge, it ended up going to the local Heinz History Center. And this right here, if you didn't know already, is the original spot of the clock tower in the center of this store. This is where the clock tower was. It was installed at the opening of the mall, and it was finally removed in 1987. I had heard stories from several people who were here back at the time. Sometimes the clock wasn't working. It actually had little puppets that came out on the hour. He was looking in a drawer one day, and he found that bird that was on the top that you see in the film. It was in a drawer for probably like 15 years or so after it was removed. And then, sadly, just threw it out. Nobody saved it. So I don't know if anybody I've never encountered anybody in all the things that I do that has any pieces of it or anything. Come on up, everybody. He looks at Steve and he says, "We'll get him easy. We'll get it all locked off, and we're going on a hunt." Although, if you look at the shot with just Peter behind him, you see this. It's not the same. This entrance has obviously been renovated a little bit. It's not the same pattern of windows, but this marble column matches. Again, the marble matters so much when you want to try to find the spots in the mall that match the movie. Downstairs, this was where the clock tower was. So in the movie, you see many views of the mall, and that clock tower was directly in center here during the movie, but not what we're walking about. Also during the credits, you'll see the same shot right in the center here. And also right here at the corner was the bank, where the guys go in and they grab all the money they want, and he's like, "Money, money, money, money." This gentleman just asked, how long was the bank here? It was actually here until the early 2000s. They had a bank here. It may not have been the same one, but there was a bank here in the exact same spot. You will notice this view down here in the middle is seen a lot in the movie. During the credits, you'll see zombies coming up the escalator. That's this view right here. And you would have seen JCPenney's here beside them, because this is where JCPenney's was, on the upper and lower floor. Come on in, everybody.
Awkward. Just got awkward.
Something my granddad used to tell us. You know, Macumba, voodoo. Granddad was a priest in Trinidad. He used to tell us when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. And they were standing right here. They built an actual scaffolding here and hauled the camera up so I can get that view of them. Doors to JCPenney's, the glass doors would have been right here where the old floor meets the new floor. And they would run back and forth, open the doors, get in, and then did the old okey doke, you know, they go up and down and get the zombies to come to each glass door. I honestly don't like to go in here because I'm still mad that JCPenney's is good. You see them come out of an alcove, okay? It's not the one down there, it's too far away, because in the shot, you can see the power boxes on the wall. Also, you can see right here the outline of where they filled in the original alcove. And the reason I know this is the spot, not only because of this, but if you look closely at the shot, and one of the scenes when they're by the alcove, you can see on the wall written there, I think Steven's there, it says BB&B, and that was the name of the store that was in this exact spot at the time of filming. So for whatever reason, you know, the store didn't need an exit, or it was things were changed or whatever. They filled this in, but this is where the alcove was. After the Hare Krishna zombie is killed, they come out of the alcove and they place his body right on the ground here.
He's just kind of sitting here like.
There are a few things you will notice. In particular, the door was here in the movie, of course. It's not now. But you see, at the time of filming, this did not lead to their hideout. That was actually a set in downtown Pittsburgh in a building. This doorway led into the main mall office. And over time, they moved their main office and they leased out this spot. The recruiting station is now in there. And they didn't want an exit going in and out of the office space, which is leased. So they closed it and moved the door. And you can see the pattern of how where the door was and how they fit in the cinder blocks. They don't match the rest because they had to fill it in when they moved the door. So all through the movie they come in and out of here. Of course, at one point Fran comes out, Steven's going down to find the guys, and she says, "Steven!"
Well, let me look at the script.
I have to look. "Steven, for God's sake! Let's get up to the roof!" And he's down there and he looks up and says, "We can't leave those guys down there." Of course, after everything happens, that flyboy gets eaten in the elevator and Peter comes up. Fran is waiting. She runs down and they meet each other right here. Peter's standing right here, turns around, sees her, and he's standing there and stops her from going down. And she's about to cry. You know, she's freaking out. She's lost her man. He starts running across. The guy's rifle is shooting. Boom, 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 boom. And then he gets over here. He does his roll. Of course, Tom Savini comes up, chasing him, and the other bikers, and they chase him down the hallway.
Nicely done.
No injuries.
From this point on, there's no one else in the mall. Everyone's behind me, the direction I'm facing. Completely empty mall. It's a dead place.
You see that big white square there? In the movie, the helicopter would take off and land from the right side of it. That's where the helicopter landing pad was. Also, when you see Fran run to the sort of edge of the mall and she shoots at the zombie trying to bite, you know, Roger as he's going in between the trucks, she's right there. She runs beside it. In the movie, that square there was blue. This road behind us, this is the road that the bikers come down in the movie. They come directly down this slanted road. It's really steep. And they come around and they ride right around the front down by the entrance where we started. The helicopter lifts off and you see the sunrise coming up. The helicopter comes around and it flies off into the distance. And that's the end of the movie. And that's the end of the tour.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. And my level of detail, even though, you know, it took a while to get through all this stuff, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming out.
Everyone owes you a drink.
That's a lot of drinks.
He's got it. He's got it.
That's going to do it for today, or should I say tonight, from the Monroeville Mall. It's pretty cool doing the tour. I have done the filming locations before, about 3 or 4 years ago. I'll put the link down below to my filming location adventure behind these walls. However, I learned some things today, or tonight, that I never knew before, following along with all the other fellow zombie nerds uniting as one, learning the history of the 1978 George Romero classic. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. The vlog is over. We're back in the mall. We were told by security to walk through this way and then head upstairs and out the other exit. However, everyone else that was with us earlier has left and gone home. So now I am inside the mall, completely by myself. Whoa. Well, except for one or two security guards.